In part 1 of my Brother International Planetron repair video, I diagnosed and repaired the audio that wasn't working, and exchanged the bulbs for LEDs. In this video, I'll deal with the remaining issues, doing something about the slider control knobs that are missing their ornamental inserts, and installing a tape head shroud which should give the tape head mount some long-term stability.
I think a small metal plate of anodized aluminum was in there. Those yellow spots are the glue that held it in. But since I don't have the metal plates, I'm thinking of cutting pieces of this self-adhesive vinyl MacTac and putting that in instead. The problem is that it won't stick in the middle because there's nothing there.
I mixed up a small wad of putty and squeezed it into the voids using a blade screwdriver to flatten it out. Then I cut the MacTac sized to fit. I wouldn't say perfect, but I'd say not bad and certainly good enough. In the first video, I cut the speaker wires for two reasons. First, their insulation was already damaged by a careless assembly, but more importantly, because it's much easier to work on this unit without the speakers dangling on either side. The female connector is attached to the side supplying power, and the male connector is attached to the side receiving power. This makes it less likely that the supply side could ever get short-circuited if the exposed pins were ever bridged. I bought a tape head shroud along with a replacement drive belt from this eBay seller. They sell this combo specifically for the late production Weltron Spaceball 2001, but I discovered that this Brother International Planetron uses exactly the same tape drive mechanism, so if it fits the late model Spaceballs, it should fit this too. Full disclosure, I bought this tape head shroud and drive belt with my own money. I have no connection with the seller. I am sharing my experience with these products. Your experience may be different, or as they say, your mileage may vary.
The instructions that come with the shroud, you can't really follow them because they're meant for the Weltron 2001. And this is built differently, so you're going to have to follow my instructions.
This is what the tape head shroud looks like.
This glues on top of the tape head mount. I want to do a dry fit first, just to make sure it's a good fit. I think the easiest way for me to do this is to remove this screw and the matching screw on the other side to try and lower this. I may have to take out some more screws, we'll see. But yeah, I want to be able to get my hands in there. And there's not exactly a lot of space with this bar in the way. I've taken out these two front screws next to the door and the matching two on the other side, and that helps, but the program switch is in the way, so I think that's going to come out, and the 1/4-inch phones jack. That needs to come out too. Taking out those screws and the phones jack gives me more working space. I wouldn't call the space generous. It's still going to be hard to get my hands in. That's as far as it wants to go with just no pressure at all. I'm going to see if I can slide it a little further. I think it's getting hung up on the top, so I'm going to take a file and take a hair's width off. I was able to take just a little off the top on the inside, and that has made it possible to slide it all the way flush with the existing mount. When you push the tape in, the tape head protrudes somewhat into the cartridge housing. You don't want that to be blocked by this shroud. Here, I'm going to insert a tape. The shroud needs to be as far back as it can go. The next step is to roughen up the shroud with some emery cloth. Prepare the two-part epoxy. The supplier recommends using these alcohol wipes and a Q-tip. Clean the inside of the plastic before the epoxy is put on. It's nice that they include those. I'll be using this stuff. It's a 2-part epoxy. You mix the 2 parts completely together, and then you have about 5 or 10 minutes to apply it. And in a half an hour, it's set. That's on as far as it will go.
The epoxy glue is now drying with the shroud in place. The supplier suggested that the shroud might be held on with a twist tie while the glue sets. It was not necessary for me because the shroud fit on very tightly.
Forgot the new belt. We'll just slip on the pulley and the flywheel after I slip off the old one. And the new one is on. And it's a little bit more taut than the original. Fits on beautifully, doesn't want to fall off. Amazing. I think I'll test it before putting it back together. FM.
He was like in traffic trying to get to his app. It was 1 a.m. for me, so both of us.
Please, Spock, do me a favor, and don't say it's fascinating.
No. But it is interesting.
Clearly something isn't right. What's supposed to be happening on this 8-track stereo tape player? The tape has 4 audio programs which are recorded parallel to one another on a tape loop. Each program has 2 audio channels left and right. 4 programs times 2 channels each equals 8 tracks. The tracks are very close together and only about 0.8 millimeters wide. As the tape is pulled across the tape head, the head is positioned to read a pair of tracks. If positioned correctly, it should only be reading the left channel and right channel of one program. But what if the tape head is tilted away from the tape? It doesn't have to be tilted far before the tape head reads the wrong tracks. I think that's what's going on. There's definitely a problem in the lower right corner. The head shroud is binding with the metal support next to the capstan. What I can do is grab my electric nail drill, load it with a narrow needle bit, and grind off some of that shroud. I've taken off a good part of that corner. I haven't cleaned up the plastic dust yet, but I will. That's made a huge difference on programs 2, 3, and 4, and some improvement on program 1. Do I regret adding the shroud? No. If the head mount failed entirely, I'd be unable to use any of the programs at all. So while this isn't ideal, it's the lesser of the 2 evils.
It's necessary to put the side with the antenna in first. Otherwise, you won't be able to get it back together. Radio works great. Plenty of volume. Plenty of volume. And both speakers work.
Excited to try maple bacon sweet potato. Meals are $13 each. Cheeseburger counts.
And the dial light works now. Change the tracks. Works great on tracks 3 and 4.
Sand is a thing that tells you when to empty your ship.
Some issues still on, track 1 and track 2. It works, but it's not quite tracking properly. And that is the Brother International Planetron VX-10.
It's going to take its place next to its contemporaries, the Weltron PS804 and Canadian version of the Weltron Spaceball 2001. I hope you enjoyed this video from Mr. Brown's Basement. Please like, subscribe, and comment. It really helps out the channel, and you'll be notified when new videos come out. And as always, thanks for watching.